gonna do a review now of Inferno, but
Yes.
last time we did a very long one with City. We're gonna do it a little bit shorter now, so that we're not here until like 1 or 2 a.m. because we record late nights. So I'll
Yes.
quickly read the introduction. It's quite short, and so let's just get going. So it's Inferno. Abandon hope, all ye who enter here. It's 2024 released, and the designer is Fernando Eduardo Sanchez, and the artists are David Benzal, Christian Casado Otadzu. Those are the two ones. Publisher is Red Mojo and 10 more, which I'm not going to name. The description: in the Divine Comedy, the poet Dante Alighieri enters hell in search of his beloved Beatrice. Guided by Virgil, he descends through the nine circles, witnessing how each sinner is eternally punished in a manner as horrifying as the sin they committed in life. Inferno
Mhm.
is a soul management game where each player must guide sinners to their respective circles in hell. The central board consists of two parts, one displaying all nine circles and the soul registry, while the other represents Florence in the early 14th century, where Dante lived, with its power games and palace intrigues. And it then describes the phases, which we'll talk about soon enough. And then, with each death, Dante takes a step closer to his descent. When he reaches the gate that will lead him to purgatory, the game ends. And of course, whoever has the
Yes.
most points is declared the winner and deemed untrustworthy. So, my first question to you: why did
Yes.
you want this game? Because it's
The
yours.
scene. The scene. The scene, the way they looked. It just that was the first thing that attracted me. The scene was really interesting. And then I looked at the map, the board looked, it gets a little busy, but it looked really cool. It just it's just an interesting theme. It's just something different. So that's
Yeah.
attracted me again. So that's the first reason. I think that's the biggest reason that attracted me.
I had it backed and then I canceled it because I think that's the first month where I was like, okay, I need to stop backing so much stuff. And there were
Hmm.
two Dantes actually at that point, this one
Yes,
and
it was
another
the
one. The other one hasn't come out yet, if I'm not mistaken.
no, the other one is a boss battler.
Mm, yeah. So yeah, that was so when you then suggested to play it, I was like, yeah, because I wanted it back then, but then in the end, I never did. Okay,
Hmm.
so mechanics, how does it work? So we all have a certain amount of family members, well, four in total, three in total,
Mhm.
sorry. And then you can have more rascals throughout the game. So you've got
Yeah.
Florence, where you send family members to town to perform actions so you can get money there or exchange money because you got different types of money. You got rascals that you can get guests, invite guests to your place. You can upgrade your tower, get like barrels to do with like
Hmm.
scoring and so on as well. Then that Florence is tied to the sins board because you're going to send sinners down to hell, which is cost you some money, or you use a sinner that's already in one of the circles of hell. They will get you potential points, but also where they land, it's important because it allows you to do certain actions in Florence. That basically determines what you can do in Florence. And
Hmm.
there's also two monsters that are randomly chosen at the beginning of the game, or beings, I guess, that will have an effect on that part of the game. A major part of the game is accusing. So basically, you will accuse someone in the location in Florence, so you have to be there. That will cause a reset. You get that person that accuses goes back to your tower, and everybody else goes back to your house. And Dante will then move forward, which will then potentially score points and get you a bonus depending on the color of person that was accused. So it's all important that you keep that in mind. Then you've got the
Hmm.
river Styx, where you can banish souls to move on the tracks. You don't get the bonus. In the beginning, we played with the bonus, which was so nice, but in the end, that's not how you play. So you move on tracks to get more scoring at the end of the game. And then you got the scoring track at the bottom, the registry, the souls registry that I just mentioned. Sorry, I am not they, I'm a he.
Hmm.
You've got diplomas there that you need for endgame scoring, which I only realized halfway through the game last time we played, which made me very
Yes.
happy. Uh, but yeah, so everything is really nicely connected. Everything is important. You can't ignore one thing or you are screwed. So yeah, first thing we'll dive in about a little bit is the art and the theme. So that is what you drew you in. So then you got the game,
Yes.
you played the game. How do you feel about the art and the theme now? How is it represented and so
Well,
on?
I think the theme is. well connected to the mechanics. So, um, okay, the whole point of accusing people and then they die straight away. That's a little weird. But besides that,
They all get
going
heart
through
attacks. How dare you?
yeah, but they're going down the levels of hell. So each worker goes down, each soul goes down, the different layers, and then
Mhm.
that causes the action you can take. And when they get to a certain color, they stop. So it creates this interesting that workers that action selection is actually really interesting because it's thematic, first thing, but also it creates tension because it's interactive. So you're wondering, okay, if I move down, that means this person can do this. But I really need that action. But if I do that action, then he's going to be able to score that soul because the next level is his color. Or if I do that, then you'll be able to snake ladder all the way down to the bottom.
Yep.
So it creates real interaction. You sort of the selection, and plus sometimes the action you want's not available, so you've got to say, okay, what am I doing now? I liked it. I liked that it is an interesting action selection that ties nicely to the theme.
Yeah. I'm going to be a little bit more critical about the
Okay,
art. I mean, I really like
it's
the
busy. It
help.
is busy.
Well, not really. I mean, yeah, I guess, but I'm okay with that. I like the registry, the scoring, the things, the skulls, really, really pretty. I like the
Mhm.
whole souls, the nine circles of hell, really, really nice. But I thought Florence fell a bit flat. I mean, compared to everything else, I think it's a bit, yeah, flat,
Or
just
it's a
like
bit
that.
boring. Yeah,
It could have
like the
been
haystack.
nicer.
If the
Yeah,
haystack is kind of
yeah.
weird, and
You send your guy to the haystack and suddenly you have a rascal. So you didn't make a baby or whatever. You just find a homeless child that helps you now. And
yeah,
so what? But I mean,
yeah,
okay. I think
I get it. Yeah,
I think I would have made it. Think I would have preferred it. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what I want, but I think
like the
compared to the
buildings.
rest, it's a bit flat. I feel it doesn't pop out
It
as much as
it
the
doesn't
others.
feel like Florence.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I know everything about Florence, so no, I don't. But but everything else is really nice. Like I agree, the components are
Like
amazing. The
you're right. I
money
think
is
maybe
super
maybe
nice
some
and
pictures were
everything.
too zoomed in. Like the tower has two guards sleeping at the door.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it is. You're right. It's kind of a strange choice for that for
And
Florence.
also, I think it just doesn't pop out as much. It's a bit,
Mm,
yeah, muted compared to the rest of the
yeah.
board. One thing for me, I think the board is very big because when I was playing solo, right, it didn't. Strangely enough, when I played with you guys, it wasn't a problem because obviously everybody needs to reach the board, so you put it sideways, right?
Yes.
But when I played solo, I didn't want to put it
Uh,
sideways because it's weird. So I put it straight up, and then literally every time I went to Florence, I had to stand
stand
up
up.
like, to try to reach Florence. So
Okay.
okay, you can put it sideways, but it's a bit weird then. So it's like, whatever. It's just nitpicking here, nitpicking. That's all.
Okay.
Okay, so then how
Also,
about? Yeah, sorry.
yeah.
Continue.
I was just. I don't know if you're talking the monsters.
Yeah, we'll get to the
I get to that.
monsters in
Okay.
a second. Yeah. So first, I want to
Yeah.
talk a bit more about Florence, the locations. How do you feel about the whole of Florence, the worker placement part, and so on?
I do like the fact that it's randomized,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so that so the board becomes very different every time because certain locations that you really want. So, like, if you really want, like the one everyone goes to straight is the haystack because you want to get more workers, right? Or
Except for
Stone Age
me.
thing. Like Stone Age, right, with the Love
Yeah.
Shack.
Yeah.
Everyone
Yeah.
goes
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But that means in this game that the symbol will be different. So that means this time that symbol will be placed will have different configurations on the on hell,
Yeah.
in which
Yeah.
layer where it is. So the game will change, right? So the two could how the game works is there's I don't know what they call them, but there's the really important location, and every really important location is connected to an average location,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? But they share one symbol,
Yes, they do.
but that symbol will always be different.
Yeah. So I guess you can compare like a basic action and an advanced action.
That's action, right? But
Yeah.
they will, but that combo will always be different, and that combo will always have a different symbol.
Yes.
So that means every game the layout will be different for those actions.
because
which
it
is
can be
interesting.
frustrating. Like you said, people might go for rascals, but then the other action might also be really good,
Yes,
or that might be coming up
yeah.
where you need to
So
score
that's the place
points because it's
gets getting blocked. It
attached.
gets getting blocked. Yeah,
And then yeah, everything is gone. And you're like, or you're
yeah.
always forced to pay drachma, I think. Drachma and Florence, right? I think those two.
Blackman in Hell and Florence in the
Yeah.
top. Yeah,
So you pay drachma to get them over the river every time. So it was in our game, I felt like I was constantly paying because I could never do what I wanted to do. So I always had to put, and then you guys, of course, took advantage of that. Which is another
yeah.
thing I want to say, like the money is really tight. Like if
It was
you're in
tight.
Florence, you really need to keep an eye, you really need to keep an eye on your finances because some of them require Florence, so the golden coins. Others
Yeah,
require the silver coins, so the drachmas. So you can, it's never a good idea to be without
yeah.
any.
And so it's interesting to
So
try and balance the two currencies. Like
yeah.
I have a lot of this now, but now I need the other one. So now shall I spend all of it to get that, or shall I hold on to it?
Yes, and I don't have enough. I don't have a lot of money. Should I do that advanced action? Because I want to do the first
Yes,
part of that action, but I can do two other parts, but they cost money. So do I want to go there
yes.
just for that one action? Because that seems like kind of a waste. Should I get more money
Yeah.
first and stuff like that? So I really like the thought exercise there as well. And also the fact that those advanced locations, they're all attached to a guest. So if you want to queue someone there, you need
Yes.
that guest as
Need a
well.
guest jam.
And then
And then you
also
have
when
that
you
little
send a
mini
rascal,
game
it's
with your
free,
tower. And then you have that mini game with the tower.
yeah.
And then sometimes your workers get stuck in the tower. So
Yes,
you'll go
yeah.
to a really crappy location to get your workers out of it.
Hmm. Because it also
Yeah,
feels, even though upgrading your tower is a good idea, it always feels like such an annoying action to do because all you do is like, okay, I upgrade my tower and that's it. And then you see
but
other
the
people
most
do,
annoying action is to get your workers out of the tower.
yeah, yeah, true,
That's
true.
the most annoying one. And
Yeah,
rearrange your tower. But you
yeah,
have to do it.
yeah, because otherwise you're always one behind or the wrong
Yeah.
people are in the
Or you have no
wrong
workers, or you have
space.
literally no workers.
Yes,
Enough
exactly.
workers. No, that's cool.
Um, Then we've got the sins board. So like we said already, the sinners they go down. So basically, when a color goes down, the circles every circle has a different color. So when it reaches that color,
Mm.
it lies down, and you get points for getting that soul there. So sometimes you
Yes.
and also near the end, like I think four spaces before the end, you've got the towers that block you. If you don't have like a token on there, you can't put the souls through. But the thing is, I
Hmm.
can put a token, put a soul through, and then you on your turn can continue that soul down. So
Yes.
it's only you only put it there if you think you can really use it or immediately or whatever. So that is very important, and also the fact that you can jump over souls that are there, lying down or not, you can jump faster
Yeah.
down, which is
I guess takes
nice.
the ladder thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all linked towards the track. So at the end of the game, when you do end game scoring, you check how many open spots there are, and that's subtracted to the multiplier. So
Yes,
yeah, that also has to be.
that's very clever.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, how do you feel about all that?
No, I really enjoy it. As I said, I really enjoyed the linking of the two areas and how they both affect each other and the puzzle of how to get the action you want. And and the fact that it affects the person who comes after you, so you don't want to set them up.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
yeah.
And then the
Yeah.
monsters. You want to talk about the monsters, right?
Well, yeah, the monsters changed the game drastically.
Yeah,
And that again, creates a situation, a tactical situation where this monster really suits what you want, helps you do the action you want to do.
yeah. For
Yeah.
example, we had the monster with the chain. So normally and that's another thing that I want to emphasize. Everybody can move the sinners. It's not like this is blue is my color.
Yeah.
No, everybody can move any sinner at any time as long as they're not in the circle of hell that they want to reach. Well, want to reach. They probably don't want to reach it, but whatever. But one of the monsters allows you to put chains on a sinner, and then nobody else can move it but you. And
Yeah.
then I totally I didn't abuse it. I was just constantly using it. You guys were not. And you're like, oh, I can't move that guy. And then in the end,
Yeah.
you guys started doing it too. But that's one. And then there's other ones that allow you to, in one straight line, have a soul shoot all the way down,
Yes.
right? As long as it can, which is really nice. But there's like
Yes.
eight of them in total. I think four red and four black
Four,
boxes.
yeah, it's eight. It's eight. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
think
the
two of them, either
combination
four, either eight or 10
might even be, yeah,
with the
10 with the
Kickstarter.
expansion. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe the space 6 or 10 with the expansion. But I
Yes.
think
Yes.
they just make the game a little bit different. And it's again another thematic twist to the game.
Yeah, because one of them is Medusa, so she will put like
Usually,
stone
yeah.
stuff
She
everywhere, so it's
freezes,
easier to score
freezes as
points.
well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool.
She free. Yeah, I
It's
really
just
enjoyed that. I enjoyed that too.
and easily expandable as well if they want to.
Mm.
No,
I'm seeing like when Board Game Geek has been given 8 rating.
nice. Yeah, yeah. And I
Um,
think like all of the stuff we're just talking about, right? It all comes down, I feel, as well to the whole accusing action because it's so important
yes,
when you accuse which color it is that you're accusing, the guest spaces in your tile that you already mentioned, the bonus that you get. Because when you
yes,
accuse someone, it's in a location in Florence, so let's say it's green, then you move on the green track. The green track might give you 3 Florence or 3 drachmas, sorry, and it's huge because it's a lot of money. Or it might allow you
yes,
to move the monster, which might put a chain on it or freeze other stuff or whatever. So it can have a really big impact on
yeah,
whatever people are doing. So, and you can also just screw people over because you could be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna move it on my next turn. Oh no, that person's accusing, even though they still have like people left, they don't have to do it. But if they do it now, they win the diploma or the scoring, and
that's
then
right.
I can't. So stuff like that happens as well. So yeah, you constantly have to
Another
keep an
thing
eye
that
on it.
another thing I it's a small part of the game, but I actually really found really interesting is the end of game scoring cards. Half the cards give you
Yeah.
something now, and
Yeah.
the other half gives you something end of the game. I
Yes.
like that.
Yes.
I actually do like that. That's original. It's something different. The cards divide in half. If you have the resource, the barrels,
Yeah.
for the first half, you get that instant reward.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the end of the game, if you get the barrel, you get the end of the game scoring. It was something interesting. It was something different.
And then at the end of the game, is it like everybody does one card each, one, or is it one person who does all their cards? I forgot.
I can't remember. I think you do all of them.
All of them.
I
So
think you
then you
score
can
all your,
really, if you have a lot of
yeah,
cards, you can really manipulate the board and
that's right. And that's why it goes into turn order or something like that.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that just basically brings me to the scoring track attached to the souls covering spots.
Yeah. But I just like the fact
Yeah,
that it's combined instant reward and end of game scoring reward. I just think it's a cool little
yeah,
combo.
and everything is connected. Like it's
Yeah.
really cool. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Now, if you have to choose one thing about the game, what do you like the most about it? What stands out for you? What do you enjoy most of the
The
whole?
action selection.
Yeah,
Moving and having these you have all these different options. It's very similar to a game called uh Xiao and Sui. It's one of the T
yes,
games.
yeah.
I don't know if you played it with
I
the
want to.
hills.
Well, I want to play that one too because it looks really cool. Yeah.
Yes. And then also there's also these hills and there's options and you've got to adjacent to
Mm,
the previous worker. I like the fact that you have so many options, but also you don't have the option you want.
mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you got to find a way to get the action you want, right? I just
Yeah.
like that. I like that. And then you're also hoping, okay, don't take that action. But it just and then the fact that it's connected to the so you got these two mini games going. You've got to move a character, you got to move a soul to get the action you want in Florence. So it's kind of these two connecting. It's almost like on Mars with two not as heavy as that, but two separate little spheres that you're working on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can and then so you have the strategy there, but sometimes the tactical element of the monsters that you can use. And I really like that. And I like that it's all connected to the end of game scoring.
Yeah. I 100% agree. Same
Yeah.
thing as you. Yeah. No, I don't have
So
anything
tell
to
me, how
add.
did the solo go? How's the
Well,
solo?
yes, yes. So, first of all, the solo is mostly beat your own score.
Okay.
And which is okay. Like I don't mind that. But I didn't enjoy the solo as much as we were playing together. Like I'll be
Okay.
honest, I didn't finish my play. I played like I think
Okay.
more than half of my play, and then I was like, okay, I know how it works, but I'm not motivated to continue. And I'll tell you why. You have 4 family members, right?
Yeah.
You start with 4, and that's all you're ever gonna get. If you get a rascal, that means you're swapping one out for a rascal. So you're still at 4. So you're constantly limited to
Okay.
4. You cannot have more, right?
Okay. Okay.
And what is so sorely lacking in the solo is you have complete freedom of where the souls go because there's no one to block you. You don't have to think about
Mm.
it. You're the only one moving. So it's a good way to learn the game, I feel,
They've
and
got
to like
monster, and do they have
try.
monsters in the solo game? And do they have monsters in the solo
Yes,
game?
but the monsters don't
Okay.
really do much because you're still manipulating them. So there's
Yeah.
one Minos, there's one the Minos one. He just gives you more points. And to beat your own score, it's a little bit special as well because you get points throughout the game, right? And then you add all those up. And then at the end, you got endgame scoring. For endgame scoring,
Hmm.
you take a different marker, right? You start at 0, you do endgame scoring, and whichever of the two is highest, that is your final score. So
Okay.
so like that. And then you also, of course, have also Dante goes faster because the three locations, extra locations on the staircase are covered up, so it goes down faster.
Hmm.
But you also have the challenges, which I'm sure you were going to mention next. Like, yeah, there's challenges too, which is true, but that just makes it more difficult in a way, as in, okay, I need to make sure I accuse these guys faster or I get this reward faster. But in the end, you still have complete freedom of. I'm not saying it's easy, but I miss the whole what is that guy going
Intention.
to
Yeah.
do? Or I'm going to jump
Yeah.
over this and I'm going to do that. Now it's more like this is more relaxed. Just like, okay, let's see what I can do. But then I don't
Okay.
feel I expect more from my solo experiences. I'm not a fan of just having freedom of doing what I
Okay.
want.
So
For
now, are you
example,
gonna
yeah.
try the? Yeah. Sorry. Are you gonna try the game with your regular group?
Not sure because, huh? I guess I could. I was just planning to give it back to you because I was gonna do solo because
No,
we
of
did
course.
solo. Because my regular group is ask well regular. You're also my regular group. One of my regular groups is asking for like Galactic Cruise and Unconscious Mind and so on. So if I keep it, I'm gonna have to keep it for a while before they
Hmm.
got their fix of those games. I would play it. I would play it every time, but I don't feel the need to buy it because of the fact that the
Okay.
solo fell a little bit flat for me. I say it's still good to learn the game, but I feel it misses the tension, and that's too bad.
I don't think the
But
game will be better at four. We completed the game with three. I think it would be even better at four players. With more tension,
yeah, of course. Yeah, it's
more
even
blocking.
more difficult. Yeah, yeah. But I think it's already good with 3. I'm sure it's also good with 2 because you still have to keep in mind and you can jump over people and
That's
manipulate the
true.
monsters. But here it's like I
They
guess
said
they
best
try to
three of
make it
four. Yeah.
I guess another thing. You said you were not a fan of the of getting your people back, right? Well, in the solo when you accuse, you only have 3 guys left because the other guy is in the tower. So you have to get your people
Mhm.
back to get a
Yeah.
guy back. So it's the one action that you always do. Otherwise, you're very limited.
Mm.
So yeah, like I said, I think I still enjoyed it, but I felt like I don't need to. I didn't maybe people will say like, oh, you should have finished it, you should do this or this, maybe so, but I didn't really feel the need. Um, but yeah, I still really like the game. I want to emphasize that. But I would
Mm.
definitely play with other people. And if my other group says, oh yeah, I really want to try it for sure, I will instantly play it. But I'm not gonna buy it. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is good because I don't need to buy every single game in the world. So, is there anything in the game in general that you thought was less interesting or, that fell flat or that you thought could have been better or different or, oh no. For me, it's the solo. But for the regular game, I think just make Florence more appealing in visual
Yeah,
wise, visually. Action's fine,
I
visually.
agree with that.
Yeah.
Maybe some more interesting locations,
What
which
could you what grade would you give it?
I would give it a eight, seven,
Mm,
eight.
no.
I agree with Board Game Arena with BGG. I think it's up
Mm,
there. I really
no.
did enjoy it.
Okay.
What would you
I
give
w-
it?
I would give it a 7. It's because
Yeah,
of the
I'll say
solo.
7, 8. And so
But for me,
but again,
7
like
because solo is very important for me because many of the games I play
but sometimes I
solo
think
and
solo. Sometimes they just make a solo because they have to make a solo.
yeah, of course, of course.
And
For
maybe
example, Deal with the Devil has no solo, right?
yeah, but doesn't even that game doesn't even have a three-player version. Never mind a solo.
Yeah, I think
But
I yeah, yeah,
I think maybe if they put more effort into it, they could have come up with a more interesting solo.
probably, yeah. Because like for example, with Galactic Cruise or the Artemis projects and so on, you have random. locations that get blocked, and that might change stuff or block you or whatever. Souls might get moved without your input or whatever. So
Hmm.
anyway, yeah, whatever. Maybe there's a solo. Maybe there is an option, and maybe I just didn't see it, or maybe there's a fan-made solo that does that. I think
Okay.
I read on the BGG that there are several fan-made solo options, but I didn't really
You give it a
felt
try.
well. No, I have too much other stuff to try. Like if I owned it, maybe I would, but I don't, so I
Okay.
don't feel the need to.